Welcome to Storehouse of the Heart. I'm your host, Kim Wilson, and here at Storehouse, we write, read, investigate, think, and examine scripture together each week. This is week 3 of our 52-week challenge, and this week we were in Psalm 145, verse 17. The NIV translation says this: "The Lord is righteous in all his ways and faithful in all he does." Let's think about what we learned about the character of God this week. On our Think Day, we always think about what our scripture says about God because he's the primary focus when we come to the word. And then we think about the implication that has for ourselves and for others. And so I want to think through this passage with you today, and I want to think through a few things. On our Investigate Day, I wrote these attributes of God down. One was righteous. God is always good and right and faithful. God always keeps his promises. These are things that we can distinguish how God is different than us. I don't always do what's good and right, and I don't always keep my promises, but God is not like us. As my friend Joy from A Place from Joy says, he is pure and holy and good, and God is always good and right, and he always keeps his promises. So as we turn to scripture and we think about God, we want to think about those truths. And as we encounter challenges in life, we want to remember and recall those truths as well. So on my Think Day, as I went through the process, I usually make a little chart in my notebook, and I put 3 categories: God, myself, and others, because I want to think through the scripture that way. So as I thought through the psalm, I didn't just stop at verse 17, but went back through the psalm and thought about what it said about God. Here's some of the things it said. God is gracious and compassionate, slow to anger, rich in love, good to all, has compassion, our creator. He is trustworthy, faithful, upholds. He looks, he opens his hands, he satisfies desires. He is righteous, faithful, near, fulfills desires of those who fear him. He hears the cries, he saves, he watches over, and he destroys the wicked. And I thought that is exactly what our scripture in verse 17 tells us in a smaller package, that God is righteous, that he is good, and he is right, and that he is faithful, that he keeps his promises. He keeps his promises to his people. And then as I went through about what it said, what the psalmist said about himself, I took that as what I'm choosing to say as well. I will exalt you. I will praise you. I will meditate on your wondrous words. My mouth will speak praises of the Lord. And for others, I thought about when the psalmist says they in Psalm 145. One generation commends your ways to another. They tell of your mighty acts. They speak of your glorious splendor, of your majesty. They tell of your power. They celebrate your abundant greatness. They joyfully sing. All your works praise. For this reason, it tells us how we interact with this righteous and good God. We do so by exalting his name, by praising, by singing, and by worship. So this week, I want to end our week by just reading through this psalm together, Psalm 145. I will exalt you, my God, the King. I will praise your name forever and ever. Every day I will praise you and extol your name forever and ever. Great is the Lord and most worthy of praise. His greatness no one can fathom. One generation commends your works to another. They tell of your mighty acts. They speak of the glorious splendor of your majesty, and I will meditate on your wonderful works. They tell of your power. They tell of the power of your awesome works, and I will proclaim your great deeds. They celebrate your abundant goodness and joyfully sing of your righteousness. The Lord is gracious and compassionate, slow to anger, and rich in love. The Lord is good to all. He has compassion on all he has made. All your works will praise you, Lord. Your faithful people will extol you. They tell of the glory of your kingdom and speak of your might, so that people may know your mighty acts and the glorious splendor of your kingdom. Your kingdom is an everlasting kingdom, and your dominion endures through all generations. The Lord is trustworthy in all he promises and faithful in all he does. The Lord upholds all who fall and lifts up all who are bowed down. The eyes of all look to you, and you give them their food at the proper time. You open your hand and satisfy the desires of every living thing. The Lord is righteous in all his ways and faithful in all he does. The Lord is near to all who call on him, to all who call on him in truth. He fulfills the desires of those who fear him. He hears their cry and saves them. The Lord watches over all who love him, but the wicked he will destroy. My mouth will speak in praise of the Lord. Let every creature praise his holy name forever and ever. I ask the Lord to bless the reading of his word this week. May his peace and favor rest upon your house. And may we be a people who are telling and praising his name, thanking the Lord for being good and right and keeping his promises to us and knowing that he is with us always. Have a wonderful weekend. I'll tag next week's scripture at the end of the video. See you then.